Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new to my channel, my name is Abigail and I'm a mum, a wife, and I would normally say nurse manager, but my role is about to change, and it's about to change very, very soon, which is part of what I want to talk about today. So make sure to stick around. So guys, I'm just going to give you a really quick update on what I've been up to in the past couple of weeks, couple of months. So it's going to be a super quick video, I promise. So guys, I've had to make a very big decision regarding my family, and I've had to make a decision to move. So as a result, I've also had to move to an entirely different workplace, as in an entirely different organization. So because of the decision that I've had to make, I actually took it as an opportunity to make another career move. Yes, another career move. So at this stage, I've been working as a nurse manager for almost 3 years. And for those of you who know, once you find your comfort zone or you find a role that you're very comfortable and happy with, which was the case for my previous role as a nurse manager, you nearly become stagnant and don't want to change, you don't want to move, you become too comfortable, and anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. In a way, this decision that I've had to make has been a blessing in disguise because it has forced me and pushed me into kind of looking at other career progression opportunities. Otherwise, I would have remained in my previous role as a nurse manager for probably longer than I anticipated. So anyway, I took advantage of the situation and started exploring career progression opportunities and really looking for ways of broadening my own experience as part of my long-term goals in terms of my career plans. So I spent the last couple of weeks / months searching for my next career move and kind of looking at jobs online, looking at what's available out there, and trying to filter through all the different jobs within cancer care because I love cancer care. That is my passion. Just filtering through the jobs and trying to identify the ones that I would be genuinely interested in, because the last thing you want is to go into a job that you're not interested in, because then it'll feel like a job, and I don't ever want to work in a role that feels like a job to me. I want to be happy and content in my role. So anyway, I did a lot of searching. It took me a while to kind of find things that I was genuinely interested in. So I spent a lot of time filtering through all the jobs available and kind of identifying the ones that I actually want, and being able to separate them from the ones that kind of look attractive, but when you look at the role profiles and things like that, it's not what you want. So anyway, after kind of identifying the roles that were of interest to me, I started looking more in depth at the role profiles and what I would be responsible for if I were in those roles. And that helped me to further kind of filter through the ones that I really want, because sometimes you look at the job titles and you think it's something that you may be interested in, but when you actually look at the role profile for the jobs, it's not what you think it is, which was the case for some of the jobs that I actually had a look at online. So I had a look at various roles like cancer information manager, other managerial roles within cancer care, and other more specialized roles as well within cancer care. So I was filtering through a lot of the jobs and looking at the role profiles and identifying the ones that I actually thought that I'd be interested in. So then I started strategically putting through applications to the jobs that interested me. So when I say strategically, I've got my experience and the number of years that I've been working in nursing, and then you've also got to apply for the jobs in a strategic way, in that you have to apply your experience to the role profile for the job that you're applying for. So you have to kind of tie your experience and the relevance of your experience to the job that you're applying for, and these roles were kind of different in terms of responsibility. So that's what I mean by strategic application. So I applied for a number of those jobs, and throughout the search process and the application process, I applied a lot of the knowledge that I had attained over the last couple of years in my experience in terms of career progression strategies. I actually did a video on career progression a couple of months ago that I think is very, very intuitive, and I think if you're interested, you should definitely go and watch that video. I'll leave a link in the description box below and a directly clickable link at the end of this video on the screen. Anyway, all of the things that I talked about in that video, I applied to my job searching process and the application process and my interview process and all that. So it was definitely very beneficial and very useful. And there are other factors, of course, that come into play when you're looking for career progression opportunities and stuff. But a lot of the things that I talked about in that video, I applied to this job searching process, and it really worked well for me. So then after putting through the applications, I started preparing for interviews. I spent weeks preparing for interviews because I had a few different roles that I applied for. And for those of you who know, interviews can be very daunting. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It doesn't matter how much confidence you may have, at least as far as I know anyway. They're very daunting, and you're going to be somewhat nervous in the back of your mind no matter how confident you think you are. So trying to preempt a lot of the questions that I was going to be asked was very tough, and I'm pretty sure it's tough for a lot of people. And, you know, trying to devise an answer to a question that you're being asked on a spot in an interview with a number of people is very difficult. There's a lot of different things that are playing in your head at that point in time, and a lot of external factors that are kind of affecting how well you can critically think and devise a really good answer that's tailored to the question that's being asked for that specific role. So anyway, I spent a lot of time practicing for the interview and trying to look for techniques to kind of calm myself down and kind of be able to think on the spot and try and pretend that they're not really there so that I can devise a proper answer to the question being asked of me. I went to a number of interviews for the different roles that I applied for. So anyway, are you ready for my new role? So I am going into a new role as a cancer nurse specialist, and I am super excited to start my role. I'm actually starting pretty soon, but excited doesn't do it justice. Like, I can't articulate how excited I am to start this role, because it's really something that I am super interested in and something that I definitely feel will be beneficial for me in terms of experience, my long-term career goals, and definitely going to be an interesting way for me to contribute into cancer care. So over the last couple of months, I did a lot of networking, and also as part of my job searching process and job application process and interview process, I did a lot of networking. So I networked with other nurses in different areas of nursing, as well as with doctors, physios, OTs, social workers, healthcare assistants, and getting to know different healthcare professionals and their roles, and discussing and sharing ideas for practice as well. And networking is one of the things that I talked about in the career progression video that I mentioned earlier on. It is such a big deal for career progression. Anyway, we did a lot of networking with people within my niche, and I think it's very important. Especially with the kind of work that I do as a cancer nurse, I'm going to be interacting with every single one of the people that I've just mentioned, and I think it's very important to try and get to know all the different healthcare professionals and their roles on a professional level. Also, I've done a lot of networking outside my niche, so networking with people like accountants, HR managers, HR personnel, teachers. I think it's definitely really important to interact and network with people outside of your niche, because you never know when you're going to actually have to interact with these people on a professional level. So for example, say you're networking with an accountant. If you're an agency nurse or you've got your own kind of side hustle, you're going to need an accountant for your taxes and things like that. And another example has been with teachers. For me, it's been very beneficial to network and interact with teachers, because in some of my previous roles, I've had to do a lot of teaching, ward-based teaching and classroom-based teaching. So it's been very beneficial in that I've been able to get ideas on how to kind of conduct myself and how to deliver the topics that I'm trying to teach. So it's been very beneficial for me anyway. And you know, especially when you first start off teaching, for me, I found it to be a little bit nerve-wracking. You kind of get nervous at the start, but then as you get into it, you kind of settle in and stuff like that. So networking with teachers and lecturers has been very, very beneficial for me as well. So those are the kind of examples that I can think of on the spot on why it is important to network outside of your niche. Or maybe I'm just nosy. No, for real, honestly, I think it's very good. If you're going to network, you need to network with a lot of different people, not just healthcare professionals, or depending on what you're doing. If you're doing something that's not healthcare related, interact with healthcare professionals, network with healthcare professionals, because you never know when you're going to need them at some point down the line. As I'm going to start my new role as a clinical nurse specialist, I'm going to try to do a little bit of vlogging and kind of like keep you up to date with how I'm getting on. Because actually I remember in one of my videos that I did a couple of months ago, somebody asked me to do a video on how to transition from being a student nurse in her final year to a newly qualified registered nurse, and that she was actually quite nervous to start and to transition. And I completely understand, because I was once in that position, and I think it's very important. And honestly, I must say this, actually, some people have asked me to do certain videos, and I just want to state that I will do those videos. There might be a little bit of a delay, but I will definitely do them, because I think a lot of them are very important, such as the one that I just mentioned about transitioning from student nurse to being a newly qualified registered nurse, which is very similar to what I'm actually about to do now and the journey that I'm about to embark on. So I'm going from one organization to an entirely different organization with a different setup, and I'm actually going from one role to a completely different role. So I think it's somewhat relevant and somewhat similar in a way. But I totally understand, and I will actually work on doing that video in the coming weeks. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of vlogging of my first week or two of transitioning into my new role, and I'll keep you updated on how I'm getting on. And yeah, if you have any questions or suggestions for videos or things like that, I will be happy to try and work on those videos. So definitely leave some comments in the comment section below. That's it for the quick update. I hope that was super quick as promised at the beginning of the video. If you have any questions, suggestions or thoughts, please leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. If you haven't already done so, go on, click the subscribe button and turn on your bell notification so that you don't miss another one of my videos. Talk soon, guys.